Hi, I'm Kevin,
And I'm Amanda.
and we are serving up
All that jam.
All That Jam, Quick Hit. Ryan Jalbert on the Motet's Big 2023.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, thank you for joining us. Yeah, super excited about this chat today. I wanted to just start with just some basic stuff. You all have been in the midst of a ton of touring starting back in September. How has that been going? I know you've got Sarah with you now. Could you just talk a little bit about how that tour has been for you?
Yeah, the tour's been great. We are so pumped to have Sarah Clarke, our new singer, and we started playing gigs with her about a year ago or so. But her schedule, she already had some conflicts and stuff, so we were kind of still juggling singers, and we were fortunate enough to have a bunch of really talented singer friends. We were working with Shira Elias for a while, and we were working with Jen Hartswick, and but we've been waiting for the right person to come along, and we found Sarah, who we actually met years back when she was in this band called Dirty Revival that opened for us a few times out in the Pacific Northwest, and we were instantly impressed with her and with the band. But she definitely stood out. And so, we had some scattered dates throughout the year, but it's been awesome just hitting the road and actually working up a bunch of new material. We're writing a bunch. We've got another song that we just released one single with her, but we've got another one that's coming out pretty soon. We just were in the studio in between little runs, like knocking out 3 more tunes that we're going to have her track on. So it's been good. It's been really busy, lots of touring, and then trying to just record as much as we can just to, let people know what we're up to.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to just dig a little bit deeper into what Sarah brings to your sound. Because you all, I feel like, are so agile, just as a band to really hit instrumental, vocals, kind of whatever it is that you all feel you need to be doing. I had seen a quote, I think it was in the official announcement for when Sarah joined up, and there was some language in there about, being the most creative, collaborative singer that you all have ever worked with. And I was just wondering if you could maybe share from your perspective, in that sense, how she might be kind of helping you all, maybe with some of that songwriting or other things.
Yeah, well, she's very talented, so there's that. And then she has a great attitude. And our other singers also had great attitudes. That's why they were in the band. That's why we all worked together well. But Sarah just kind of brings this extra level of openness and just kind of willingness to try things. And, we're all kind of just ready to kind of stretch beyond our comfort zone and kind of just experiment a little more. She's just, she just brings like a really positive vibe to the whole scenario, which was very welcome. And so it's been, a pretty open collaborative process from the jump. So it's
how
been
does
great.
it work with older material incorporated into the set list with the new singer?
Right. So that's a good question because, you know, what we've been trying to deal with is we wrote a lot of music that had not only other singers, but male vocalists and horn arrangements where, and we have been touring in the past years with 2 horns, but the studio tracks will have 5 or 6 horns, and then so when we were recording in the studio with a big horn section, it was enough of a challenge to pare that down to just 2 horns and kind of rearrange the stuff for the show. Now we're rearranging our old material with horns for, we have 1 horn. Yeah, we have a sax player. And so just experimenting with different arrangements of the music that people know. And so it's sort of just like the push and pull of trying to figure out, we want to represent the music properly, and and we want to play the music in a way that our fans will dig it, but we also want to rearrange it. We want to keep it fun. We want to keep moving it forward and progressing it. And so, but then try to weigh that out with like, is this working? Is this too far? Is this like really a horn tune? Maybe we should let it go and kind of move on to something else. So, but Drew Sayers, our saxophone player, super talented. He's like a whiz with the effects, so he can kind of like do some harmonizer stuff with his sax lines. He's playing a lot of keyboards now, so a lot of the music we're adapting these horn section lines for synthesizer, which kind of works with our sound. We're kind of going in a little bit more of like an electro kind of thing, psychedelic electro vibe, as opposed to like traditional horn section funk. So, we're taking the horn arrangements and trying to adapt them to keys. And then with Sarah, we're taking up some of the old vocal music and kind of seeing what she feels comfortable with. Maybe we can change some keys here or there. Maybe some stuff just doesn't work and we should focus on just writing new music,
We talked to a lot of jam band, folks about the studio and recording and how that kind of artifact is one thing and then the live show is another, right? And they're not necessarily meant to be the same. For the motet, I feel like your studio work is actually a really great representation to a degree of what you all do live, because you're so tight live. And I feel like somehow you all are able to get that energy and the feeling to a large degree of your live show in the studio. And I don't feel that way about a lot of bands. Not that it's good or bad necessarily, but I feel like when I'm listening to, whether it's older or newer stuff, like if I go see you all live, I feel like it's, like it's pretty close. Like, do you all aim for that, or am I just totally making that up in my own head maybe?
Well, yeah, yes and no. We're definitely all perfectionists with the live show, and executing as we would in the studio. And a lot of times, with our process, I sometimes wish we got to road test this music a little bit more, but it usually seems like by the time it's ready to record, we're just in the studio cutting the tracks up. So, one of the challenges is more so like from the studio perspective, do we want to pull the reins in a little bit because we can't execute all these layers live? Like we can't have piano, Wurlitzer, clavinet, 4 synthesizers, horns. How can we convey this arrangement in the live setting? But I guess our philosophy is that the energy, if we're tight and we can bring the energy, then that's really the most important part. And so, even though we'll add a bunch of layers on in the studio, we're primarily looking for energy instead of kind of like, we certainly do some editing, but we try not to go in there really with a scalpel and like quantize everything, because that is kind of the funk. You kind of need a little bit of the push and pull there. And once it gets too perfect, you can edit something and then it looks good and it lines up, and then you go back and you listen the next day and it's like, and then you listen to the original tracks and it's like, what happened? What did we do? It's like we took all the funk out of it, and so it's definitely finding a balance of like getting energetic tracks in the studio that are tight, and then we can clean them up, but not too much. layer on some layers, but not too much. And then live, the extra energy that we bring to the stage hopefully just resembles the studio recording.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I was just thinking back to Red Rocks. It was June of 21. That was like my first big regular show. I think I'd been to a bunch of those small table side, like you were talking about, or in people's backyards or driveways. And when you kicked off with Nemesis, I was like, okay, like we're back. And that was such a great like reintroduction for me to, okay, we can do this, right? Like we're here, we're all going to be good. So I definitely feel that. I think that comes across, that energy piece that you mentioned. If you are enjoying All That Jam, please like and subscribe to our social media channels at All That Jam Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or visit our website, allthatjampod.com. Make sure to sign up for our email list and tune in every week for new episodes.
Also, look for full interviews on our YouTube channel. And remember, stay beautiful, but don't stay underground too long.